This is obviously a couple of tough home losses back to back. You guys seem to have, at least the last few games that have come down to the wire, have just been kind of a play or two away. Is there any sort of like consistency to what some of these games or how they're finishing that you guys are just having a little trouble right now getting over the hump to make that, kind of game sealing play here at the end?
Last game, just a grinded out game, and one that if you pull out, you feel really, really good about. And, tonight it wasn't as physical, but the refs let us play a little bit. And, for it to come in a similar fashion is tough. These two games were a little different, just with how they ended. I felt like, honestly, they're a little bit similar in the way that we had control, and we could have, slowed up on a couple of plays, and when we were leading down the stretch, and obviously should have won them both. But they're both tough. It's tough.
As our out-rebounded side, that's been a strength for the team for the majority of the season. Was there something that Indiana was doing on the glass that led to their success?
I thought we were a little heavy, had some heavy legs today. I think maybe that has to do with it being a back-to-back. But I thought, Indiana did a really good job of, being physical, and crashing the offensive glass as well. They came in and played really, really hard and tough, and we knew they were going to. They just ended up toughing us a little bit.
What do you think you guys are learning in these games where you can't finish out the way you want to in the clutch and pull out a win?
You think about how we lost last game. Guy misses a shot, we win the game. Obviously, there's a bunch of different plays that lead up to that. So we know the collective. It's not one play. It doesn't come down to one play or one shot. And the things we got to execute throughout the game. But you don't want the disappointment of one to turn into two. So that's hard for us because it's two right there that are in our hands. So we got to win.
And then pregame, I asked Coach Carlisle about you, and he said that you're basically one of the top rookies he's ever seen, essentially in terms of your consistency as a rookie. When you hear somebody like that Hall of Fame coach talk about you with that kind of praise, what does it mean to you, if anything?
That's really cool. Obviously, he's been around for a long time. He's had a lot of success everywhere he goes, and so that's it's cool to hear from him.
It seemed like Indiana in the first half, maybe in the first three quarters, did a good job of not letting you get a clean look from three. Can you talk about maybe their defense on you tonight? You still ended up with 18, and how your mindset is maybe when they're still giving you that defense to, just wait for it, and you got some good looks at the end of the game as well.
Yeah. I think obviously by now my shot is high up on the scouting report. They want to take away my three-point shot. Also just had a tough time getting in a rhythm right away. Sometimes that's how the game goes. But also, getting in foul trouble, taking yourself on the game, putting yourself on the bench by fouling stupidly. That'll happen too naturally.
Can you talk about the matchup sometimes where they're trying to get you onto Pascal Siakam? He had an and one on you earlier, and then you did a good job at the end of the game trying to kind of key him up without allowing yourself to foul. Can you just talk about that matchup right there?
Yeah, when he goes left, he loves that spin back right, and kind of knew it, and I had my hand caught in there. That's one of those tough ones where you get beat and you don't foul hard enough, where he still finishes and gets 3 points. So you're trying to stay on his right hand because that's where he's going most of the time. Just did a good job keeping my body in front of him the second time.